May 1st, 2015.
The rugged emerald hills of Villa Purification, Jalisco.
A Mexican military Black Hawk helicopter ascends slowly above the dense tree line. Inside the steel belly,
Elite Army commandos and federal police sit shoulder to shoulder, gripping their rifles.
their mission is precise: Operation Jalisco.
The objective: decapitate the leadership of a rapidly expanding syndicate, capture or kill the target.
But down below,
The jungle isn't just watching.
it is calculating.
A streak of white exhaust tears through the morning mist, defying gravity. This is not a stray bullet. This is not a pipe bomb thrown by a street thug. It is a rocket-propelled grenade, military-grade ordnance, fired with terrifying precision.
The warhead strikes the tail rotor of the Black Hawk.
Mid-flight, the physics of aviation instantly shatter.
Steel groans in agony. The massive, 6-ton machine loses its battle with gravity, spiraling violently out of control. It becomes a flaming meteor, plunging into the unforgiving brush below.
9 soldiers are incinerated in the wreckage before they even realize the mission has failed.
Silence does not follow the crash.
Only absolute, coordinated chaos.
This was not a lucky shot. This was not a random ambush. It was a brutal declaration of asymmetric warfare.
Within minutes of the helicopter falling from the sky,
A PO program sequence activates across 3 entire Mexican states.
It is a display of logistical precision that rivals formal militaries. The cartel's foot soldiers do not panic. They execute a synchronized protocol.
dozens of city buses are violently hijacked. Passengers are thrown to the asphalt. Gallons of gasoline are poured over the seats.
Matches are dropped.
Towering walls of black, toxic smoke.
Choke of highways in 20 different municipalities. Emergency radio frequencies scream with overlapping reports.
Of burning banks, incinerated gas stations, and military convoys boxed in by raging infernos.
Entire cities are paralyzed. Citizens are trapped in their homes as the streets burn.
By nightfall, the death toll reaches 15.
The state of Jalisco is effectively severed from the outside world.
The Mexican government, an entity backed by billions in United States defense aid, is paralyzed. A sovereign nation forced to its knees by an invisible, ruthless army in a matter of hours.
The message written in the ash is unmistakable.
The rules of engagement are dead. At the center of this scorched earth sits one man, Nemesio Ozeguera Cervantes.
Known to his loyalists, to the DEA, and to a terrified public simply as
El Mencho.
He is no longer just a drug lord. He is the architect of a paramilitary insurgency. Under his absolute command, the Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generation, the CJNG, has violently mutated. It has shed the chaotic, disorganized skin of the cartels of the 90s.
El Mencho built a machine that swallows territories whole,
Buys political systems wholesale, and floods the streets of American cities with synthetic death.
He is the reason fentanyl is no longer just an illicit narcotic. It is a weapon of mass casualty. The threat is so profound that the United States government placed a $10 million bounty on his head. It is the largest reward ever offered by the DEA for a Mexican cartel boss.
A massive international manhunt begins. Task forces mobilize across borders. Satellites reposition their lenses to scan the Sierra Madre mountains. Informants whisper into encrypted lines.
elite strike teams hunt him with drones and thermal imaging, kicking down doors of remote compounds in the dead of night.
But every raid ends the same way.
An empty safe house. A cold cup of coffee. A radio hissing static.
Footprints.
Vanishing into the mud.
El Mencho is a ghost.
A phantom commander who can shoot down military aircraft, extort regional economies, and murder tens of thousands from a distance, all without leaving a single fingerprint.
He is the ultimate boogeyman of the modern drug war. Untouchable. Unseen.
But what if the satellites are tracking a shadow? What if the billions of dollars spent, the heavily armed raids, and the $10 million bounty are all aimed at an empty throne?
Recently, A different kind of intelligence has begun to bleed out from the dark web and cartel back channels.
Not of troop movements or drug shipments, but of medical equipment covertly moved into the mountains.
Whispers of acute kidney failure. Reports of a quiet, unceremonious end for the world's most wanted man.
What if the man who brought two nations to the brink of war is already dead?
And if he is,
Then what exactly is driving the unstoppable, bloodthirsty machine he left behind?
To understand the machine, you must strip away the myth of the man.
if the heart of CJNG has indeed stopped beating in some remote mountain hideout.
The arteries of the organization haven't noticed. They continue to pump billions of dollars and metric tons of narcotics. This resilience is not accidental. It is the result of a chilling evolution in criminal architecture. Corporate decentralization of crime.
Before he was a phantom, Nemesio Ozeguera Cervantes was a ghost of a different kind. In the 1980s, he was an undocumented laborer crossing the border,
breaking his back in California's onion fields and washing dishes in the back rooms of San Francisco restaurants. He learned the rhythm of the American underbelly, the risk, the reward, and above all, the power of moving unseen.
Deported without prison time, he carried these lessons back to the rugged terrain of Michoacan.
In 2009, out of the fractured remains of older cartels, a specialized hit squad emerged, LOS Martesitas. By 2012, this brutal cell rebranded, mutating into the Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación.
But brutality was cheap in Mexico. El Mencho knew that bullets win battles,
but logistics win wars.
He didn't build a street gang, he built a franchise syndicate. CJNG operates with the cold, calculated efficiency of a massive corporate conglomerate. They don't waste resources on endless, bloody turf wars if they don't have to. Instead, they offer a deadly licensing agreement. Local criminal cells across Mexico are absorbed into the network.
They are granted permission to use the terrifying CJNG brand name, gaining immediate access to military-grade hardware and international smuggling routes.
In exchange, they follow strict directives from the top and kick a percentage of their profits up the pyramid.
To manage this, the ranks of CJNG aren't just filled with sicarios holding rifles.
El Mencho actively recruited university graduates, corporate lawyers, forensic accountants, and cybersecurity specialists. They operate sophisticated phone banks, manage encrypted ledgers, and track cash flow across international borders with the precision of an investment bank.
This allowed the franchise to rapidly swallow territory, establishing outposts in more than 35 Mexican states, and planting deep operational footprints in Europe and Asia.
But a corporate structure requires physical enforcement to protect its market share. And the hardware CJNG deploys is not designed for drive-by shootings. It is designed for theater-level combat.
When Mexican authorities raid CJNG compounds, they do not just find handguns.
They seize Barrett .50 caliber sniper rifles, weapons engineered specifically to pierce engine blocks and armored personnel carriers.
The cartel's enforcers are equipped with rocket-propelled grenades, tactical body armor, and explosives-laden aerial drones, a tactic violently lifted straight from modern Middle Eastern battlefields.
They roll through contested territories in heavily modified armored vehicles known as monstrous. These makeshift tanks are fabricated in remote workshops, reinforced with heavy steel plates scavenged from construction equipment, fitted with gun turrets, battering rams, and bulletproof glass. They are designed to withstand direct hits from military-grade munitions.
El Mencho did not just arm street thugs.
He recruited former Special Forces soldiers and corrupt police officers,
offering corporate-level salaries in exchange for their battlefield expertise.
These instructors run hidden training camps in the Jalisco highlands, drilling new recruits in small unit tactics, ambush coordination, and the deployment of heavy munitions.
The result is a force that operates flawlessly as a paramilitary unit, utilizing surveillance drones to scout enemy positions and feed real-time intelligence to commanders on the ground.
Yet, the true devastation of CJNG is not delivered by a .50 caliber bullet or an armored convoy. Their most effective weapon requires no gunpowder. It is completely silent. and it is actively neutralizing thousands of Americans without a single shot being fired.
This is the modern alchemy of death.
The supply chain of synthetic narcotics begins thousands of miles away from the Mexican border. Massive cargo ships depart from ports in China and India, their shipping containers packed with raw chemical precursors.
On paper, these shipments are meticulously documented as harmless industrial solvents or cosmetic ingredients. They cross the Pacific and dock at major Mexican ports like Manzanillo and Lázaro Cárdenas.
Here, the cartel's influence ensures customs officers look the other way
or face the immediate, brutal execution of their families. From the coastal docks, these raw chemicals are trucked deep into clandestine laboratories, hidden within the mountains of Jalisco, Colima, and Guanajuato.
There are no farmers here, only cartel chemists, many with advanced university degrees, working in secure facilities. They synthesize these imported powders into highly potent methamphetamine and fentanyl.
The logistics of moving this poison north are a masterpiece of dark commerce.
The cartel does not rely solely on desperate mules hiking across the desert. They utilize the massive legal infrastructure of global trade. The drugs are concealed within commercial auto parts, hidden in shipments of frozen produce, or welded into the secret compartments of heavy transport vehicles.
They blend seamlessly into the endless stream of legitimate traffic flowing through border huts,
like Tijuana, Ciudad Juarez, and Nuevo Laredo.
Once inside the United States, the CJNG franchise network activates. Local crews in Los Angeles, Dallas, Chicago, and New York operate via encrypted applications, coordinating drops and digital payments with the frictionless efficiency of a modern tech startup.
The macroeconomics of this shadow empire are staggering.
But to truly comprehend the gravity of El Mencho's machine, you must look at the micro details. You must look at the terminal end of the supply chain.
Roughly 100,000 American lives are extinguished every single year by synthetic opioid overdoses.
The numbers are so massive they induce a cognitive numbness.
But these are not abstract statistics. They are the calculated casualties of an undeclared war.
In the quiet, eerie dawn hours of a Sunday morning in Ohio,
the end result of CJNG's global logistics network was delivered to a suburban bedroom.
A 23-year-old man lay slumped on his floor.
Beside him, a half-empty water bottle, a glowing smartphone, and absolute silence.
Paramedics arrived within minutes, but the biology was already irreversible.
There was no history of addiction,
no trail of prescriptions,
no warning. He had simply purchased a single pill from a friend, believing it to be a standard painkiller.
He didn't know he was participating in a transaction with a Mexican paramilitary organization.
The pill was a counterfeit, pressed in a clandestine lab hidden in the Jalisco highlands.
It contained a microgram scale miscalculation of fentanyl.
A dose so potent it depressed his respiratory system and stopped his heart before the sun could rise.
His mother, who now writes his name on a banner at local overdose vigils,
is not just a victim of a tragic mistake, she is collateral damage in a corporate expansion strategy.
This system is so highly optimized
that a chemical manufactured in Asia, synthesized in Michoacán and smuggled through Tijuana,
can efficiently execute a college student in Ohio without the cartel ever stepping foot on US soil.
Yet, despite this unprecedented threat, despite the $10 million bounty, and despite the combined might of the DSC,
the machine continues to operate flawlessly.
Which begs a terrifying question. How do you dismantle a syndicate that has made itself practically invisible?
The answer lies not in the mountains of Jalisco, but in the polished, air-conditioned corridors of power. When a $10 million bounty, the largest ever authorized by the DEA for a cartel leader, is placed on a single human being, the mathematical probability of betrayal should skyrocket.
Human greed is usually the ultimate equalizer in the criminal underworld. Tip lines buzz, satellites are repositioned,
joint task forces, backed by heavily armed Mexican Marines and American intelligence, launched coordinated dawn raids on remote mountain fortresses based on intercepted radio chatter.
But time and time again, the boots hit the ground, the flashbangs detonate, and the dust settles on an empty room.
A radio left hissing static. A convoy of armored monsteros vanished into the steep canyons.
The public narrative suggests that El Mencho is simply a master of evasion, protected by the unforgiving geography of the Sierra Madre and a network of loyal, impoverished villages.
That is a comforting lie.
The terrifying truth is that CJNG does not hide from the government, it wears the government. This is the dark art of institutional weaponization.
El Mencho did not just bribe a few local cops to look the other way. He executed a systemic state capture.
In towns across Jalisco and Michoacan, city council members, prosecutors, state legislators, and high-ranking military officials are not just compromised, they are active, salaried employees on the CJNG payroll.
When the DEA plans a raid, the intelligence doesn't just leap. ... IT is formally routed to cartel commanders by the very police chiefs tasked with executing the warrant.
The cartel uses state and federal police forces as its own private security apparatus, directing official government resources to arrest or execute rival cartel members.
The lines between the law and the outlaw have been completely erased.
American taxpayers, funding international drug war initiatives, are inadvertently subsidizing the intelligence network of the very syndicate they are trying to destroy.
And the intimidation flows both ways.
CJNG does not just defend its territory in Mexico, it projects fear directly onto US soil.
Cartel-linked operatives have systematically tracked federal agents across the border.
They compile dossiers, private home addresses,
the schools their children attend,
their spouses' daily routines. These details are quietly slipped under the doors of DEA field offices or sent via encrypted texts.
Not as immediate declarations of violence, but as chilling reminders. You are watching us, but we know exactly where your family sleeps.
This atmosphere of pervasive, borderless intimidation forced the United States government to confront a grim reality.
In February 2025, the US escalated its response, officially designating the Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generation not just as a transnational criminal organization, but as a foreign terrorist organization. This legal pivot unlocked aggressive new tools for freezing global assets and prosecuting associates.
It was a formal acknowledgement of narco-terrorism. The US government finally admitted that they were no longer fighting a drug cartel.
They were engaged in an asymmetric war with a well-funded, heavily armed insurgency that had deeply penetrated the state apparatus.
But right at the precipice of this escalating war, the data presents a massive reality-altering anomaly. A twist that renders the $10 million bounty, the terrorist designations, and the satellite surveillance utterly obsolete.
For years, intelligence agencies tracked Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes not just through his lieutenants, but through his biology. El Mencho was known to suffer from severe, debilitating kidney failure,
requiring a private medical team and regular dialysis equipment smuggled into his mountain hideouts.
Then, the intelligence chatter began to change. It didn't happen on CNN or official DEA press releases.
It started in the dark corners of encrypted forums, in the whispers of rival syndicates, and even in the comment sections of true crime documentaries.
A chilling consensus began to form in the underworld. El Mencho is El Muerto. He is dead.
Whether succumbing to his failing organs in a remote jungle camp,
or quietly assassinated by his own ambitious lieutenants in an internal coup,
the physical entity known as El Mencho may have ceased to exist weeks, months, or even years ago.
For a moment, let the gravity of that possibility settle. If the architect is dead, why hasn't the building collapsed?
Historically, when you decapitate a cartel, it fractures.
When Pablo Escobar was gunned down on a Medellin rooftop, his empire disintegrated.
When El Chapo was extradited to a supermax prison in Colorado, the Sinaloa cartel plunged into a chaotic, bloody civil war.
But CJNG is not tied to the cult of personality. It is a franchise syndicate. It is built on a corporate algorithm of decentralized logistics, franchised violence, and compartmentalized supply chains.
This is the ultimate, horrifying twist of the CJNG narrative.
The United States government, with its infinite defense budget and advanced technology, may be pouring millions of dollars into hunting a ghost. They are pointing their satellites at an empty throw.
And the machine doesn't care. Without El Mencho, the ships from China still dock in Manzanillo. The chemists still synthesize fentanyl in the highlands. The armored monstrous still roll through Michoacan. And the counterfeit pills still find their way into the bedrooms of 23-year-olds in Ohio.
The terrifying implication is no longer about catching a criminal mastermind.
It is about the realization that the mastermind has engineered a system that no longer requires his existence.
We are no longer hunting a man. We are fighting a self-sustaining virus that has successfully integrated itself into the global economy.
When law enforcement eventually admits they are hunting a corpse,
there will be no victory parade in Washington. There will be no triumphant press conference at the DEA headquarters.
Because the death of Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes does not trigger the end of the CJNG. It triggers the Hydra effect.
If you decapitate a traditional cartel, the beast bleeds out.
But when you sever the head of a decentralized corporate franchise, it does not die. It fractures. It multiplies.
The corporate architecture El Mencho designed ensures that every local commander, every corrupt politician, and every regional plaza boss is already equipped to operate independently, without a central authority to keep the lieutenants in check.
the violence will not stop.
It will simply become more erratic, unpredictable, exponential.
We have spent decades fighting the war on drugs using a hopelessly outdated playbook. We build border walls. We deploy heavily armed joint task forces.
We print wanted posters and slap $10 million bounties on the heads of kingpins.
Treating them like Hollywood villains whose capture will magically roll the end credits on a national crisis. But CJNG is not a movie villain. It is a multinational logistics algorithm programmed for a single objective: maximum profit at the expense of human life. An algorithm does not sleep, it does not fear a grand jury indictment, and it certainly does not mourn the death of its founder.
Right now,
At this very second,
the chemical precursors continue to be loaded onto cargo ships in the Pacific. The clandestine laboratories in the Jalisco highlands continue to press lethal doses of fentanyl into counterfeit painkillers.
and paramedics in American suburbs
Continue to zip black bags over the faces of the next generation.
The United States government escalated this conflict to a war against terror, only to realize the terrifying truth: the terror is completely self-sustaining.
El Mencho achieved the ultimate, most horrifying victory a criminal mastermind could ever dream of.
He built an empire.
That no longer requires an emperor.
He made his creation immortal.
We placed a $10 million bounty on a ghost.
But it is the machine he left behind that is quietly exterminating the living. The underworld is constantly mutating. The true threats are never the ones standing in the spotlight.
They are the invisible systems operating in the dark, buried beneath government redactions and cartel propaganda.
If you want to understand the shadow networks truly shaping our world, you cannot look away. Subscribe to the channel to unlock the next classified case file.
Before you go, drop your verdict in the comments below. How exactly do you destroy a machine that has no off switch?